Okay, call the meeting of the Auburn Industrial Development Authority to order. Today is Wednesday, June 19th. Can I have a roll call, please?
Yes. Ms. Weber McLeod is excused.
On a beach. Somewhere.
On a beach somewhere, excused on a beach. Mr. Andre.
Present.
Ms. McIntyre. Here. Mr. Lovell.
Here.
Mayor Giantina.
Here.
Ms. Crawford.
Here.
Ms. Walter. Here. Ms. Young is on Zoom, but absent.
Here remotely.
That's it.
Okay, we will start with the minutes for review. Has everyone had an opportunity to review May meeting minutes? Have a motion to approve? Moved by the mayor, second by Dan. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
No, abstain, carried. Okay, Tracy, could you review bills for us, please?
I would love to. So there's a few things to know on the bills. So we have the first invoice from NRB Group, $4,500 that was management admin through June 1st. And then there are two bills from CETA, one for Q1 at $5,000 and then one for just April. As well as domain renewal and postage for January through April. So the domains happened to renew just before we switched over. So also I also did distribute, there was one pilot payment that hadn't been dispersed yet, and rather than waiting, I could go ahead and disperse that. It needed to get out the door. That was JBJ had made a payment, the remainder of their payment in April and April. And so we want to get that $126,000 to the municipality. So that was done this week. So today we're just we're looking for approval for the MRB and the CETA bills.
Any questions? Can I have a motion? Moved by Dan, have a second, please. Second by Jimmy. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, carried.
Just to note on those disbursements, so on the balance sheet, you'll notice, and Tessa will get into this, you'll notice that we have a good balance in our checking account. Turns out 126,000 of that is not my money. So just so everybody knows, once that goes out, we'll have a saving checking account balance of about $23,000, and then the savings is almost 172,000. So I would recommend moving some money in addition to the CD conversation later, just so that make sure we have the cash flow mentioned.
Okay, move on to Tessa.
And I believe Tracy had included the balance sheet and profit and loss statement in with the packet. So as Tracy mentioned, so of that $322,000 in there, 126,000 just went out for the pilot payment. We discussed the receivable balance on there, that those will be pilot payments that we'll be sending out, or pilot bills that we'll be sending out. And then one of the liabilities that's listed on there, the city loan, we'll get into that a little bit later. We'll talk more about that, but then for the profit and loss year to date, you have, there's about $4,000 in revenue. That consists of admin fees and interest income, and then the audit bill was $9,950. And then just a little bit more, so those were the highlights of what the activity consists of this year. And like I had mentioned, several of those items we was talking about that.
We have so much to discuss here. We're gonna have so much fun with financials.
Why do I not believe you?
No, it will be fun, and then we're gonna go boom, boom, boom.
Okay, good. Is that it, Tess, for now?
Yep, so that's what I have for the financials.
Okay, can I have a motion, please, to accept treasurer's report? Moved by Karen, have a second? Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Carried. Okay. It's all you.
So a couple weeks ago, I sat down, and had a conversation with Builder's Choice. That's why they're here today. They are working on a project to relocate their business and expand it, and are interested in the sales use tax and mortgage tax abatement that is offered by AIDA. The amount that they are seeking for those abatements is less than $100,000, so it's like 82, 85, something like that. So it wouldn't require a public hearing, but as we were digging into the seeker resolution, it turned out they shared a 50-feet property line with the historic property. So we're gonna go ahead and make sure that we get to the seeker process in the correct way to avoid any potential challenges or litigation that could come from not doing it correctly. So we're gonna be working with the planning department to confirm what they need in terms of site plan and what they'll be doing in terms of seeker. And then they'll be coming back to us for approval, which should only take one meeting. It's an easy one as long as there's no issues. So for now, I would just like to have you guys, this is Chris and John, and have you guys kind of explain what you're trying to accomplish and what you would like to do.
Trying to move the lumberyard from Cottage Street where we used to have that since 2005. Columbus Street to Cottage Street where we own. We bought the property and the main reason, there's two spearhead reasons for moving. First being, we don't fit in the facility that we're in anymore. We haven't for quite some time. And we've been putting Band-Aids on problems, and we're using facilities that are not conducive logistically now. And the problem continues to grow. The other reason we decided to do this is the rail does come through the property or next to the property. In the last 4 or 5 years, our inbound rail business has gone, well, it's increased 100%. It's gone from none to probably today about 30% of our inbound materials that we're distributing are coming in by rail. And there's limitations to that now because we are using our neighbors' spur, which they have been absolutely awesome. But it's not the right fit for us because it's for those not familiar, our neighbors is Caravel across the street. They're set up to take in grain cars, and they take it a lot. And sometimes of the year we're not in the way, sometimes of the year we're very in the way, and we try to not be, but even still, their property's not set up to unload lumber cars, box cars over at center rail. So that's the lumber comes in. So if we can get over that hurdle, then we believe that we can increase our own input substantially. The other thing that we've been approached but haven't committed to yet, because of where we are and we can't, is there's potential for other area businesses to utilize it through a transloading agreement. Small P2P or small business owners in the community that we've had informal conversations with have expressed interest. Those are the two reasons for us moving. The goal here is to have build a lumberyard, not try and run one out of textile plant, but that's what we're now. So
Our business has changed more from retail sales to, we're doing a lot of multi-family, low-income housing all across the state. I am a disabled veteran in the state program that funds these projects, calls for a certain amount of that. So that has gotten our foot in the door, but it's still, you still have to be able to perform, and you still have to be competitive, and it just gets you a look. So there's roughly 4 tractor trailers of lumber on the rail car. and obviously it comes in. They have savings of roughly, depending on what it is, anywhere from $6,000 to $10,000 per car. Keeps us competitive in a very competitive situation. So if we got our foot in the door right here in town with Sealer Construction and Malone Village, but you know, they're doing projects all over, and they're one of our larger customers. But if we travel to Malone, Jamestown, Buffalo, Rochester, Ithaca, Binghamton, Vessel, every city like Auburn that's doing low income or multi-family housing, we get a shot. And the rail spur is an intricate part of keeping us competitive.
Can I ask, guys, are you talking about the old family garden center lot?
Yes, sir.
I gated myself there. So.
Pardon me?
too.
Fair enough.
Yes, and the other thing that we would do is that we won't let another homeless camp be constructed there. So we've made the investment in the property, you know, already. And, it was jump on it or lose it. So I'm sure most of you are familiar with the property. They had an option on it that was, what, 8 or 10 years, quite a while. And that option got withdrawn, and we heard through the grapevine that the lot was available. The vicarious to get there.
It's good. It'd be good to see something out of that lot's been an eyesore for decades.
Well, I'm you know, we've cleaned up a lot of it, you know. No, and, you know, I went by the other day and there's no couch there if anyone's looking. You know, we're trying to stay on top of it, and you know, the grass is growing like weeds, but you know, we're keeping the perimeter cut down and you know, making it look more appealable. If you keep it more appealable, then people don't.
Right.
And
So is the family bargain center the historic significance?
Yeah, that was my question. What's the historic property?
So to clarify, it is not, it's the Seymour Mansion, it is not, at this time, historically designated, it's eligible to be designated, just under seeker to change the,
Schematics.
the so seeker to be in type 1, the changes to the property have to be over 2.5 acres or a certain number of square feet. If you're substantially contiguous to a property that is itself historical or is eligible to be historical, then that the size of the changes to the property goes down substantially. So it's eligible to be designated as historical. So
Is-
you're now working with the smaller area.
Okay, is that the brick home that the city owned and sold to a family for free?
Correct.
Okay,
Okay.
okay, thank you.
Correct.
It's a beautiful building. Yeah.
So that is a property. The actual building then is eligible to be donated is, my understanding, near the street. And it's probably hundreds of feet away where they would actually be made in staircases on the property. I think there's trees and maybe a garage or something in between.
There's a 10-foot tall retaining wall that goes down that entire property, follows jagged down, but you just said something that's interesting, you said 2.5 acres. When I filled out that initial one, to see the short form, I just put 3.7 because we tended, as you can see, we intend to utilize the property. But with that entire parking lot to the front there, it's already there, it's gonna get a top coat, but it's there.
Well,
That-
yes.
So.
And then so I guess what constitutes,
It's the property line, that's what's causing this issue.
Yeah,
Like 2
so.
acres.
So normally it would be 2.5 acres before they use the type 1. Once you're the family contiguous, that property is eligible to be historical, then that number goes down. I can't remember what the number was, but it's. I can't say what it was on. Sure. It's substantially less. And your project would fall into that. So we gotta go through this review. I don't think anyone expects there to be a problem with the review, but it's the hoops, I guess.
What is the review process? Is it the property owner or is it the state?
It's a coordinated review between the city and,
But does the property owner petition say that it's gonna disturb?
potentially, I think. All things considered, if the city makes a finding of no significance. I think that would be. Subject to be real challenge, that's just my opinion, but given that where the actual building is going to. Building these gentlemen plan on building is not gonna be.
So-
Near where the actual mansion is, the actual structure itself will be designated.
So
It'd be hard to say that there's any, sorry.
just. May.
Yeah, yeah.
Point out,
Yeah, so as I know in the email, this is a slightly older plan, they're getting a new plan drawn up. So if you wanna just talk about what you're planning to do now.
this lot is owned by the city. This is a private individual. And this is the 50 feet that we're talking about. That joins. Probably not the original Seymour Mansion property. If you look at the tax maps. At some point, those two lots are joined. This lot comes down. And they have 175 foot egress here. And it turns right here. And then about halfway between that and North Street is where the original, that's where the beautiful building is from. If this was North Street, from this point back, it's trees and jungle and.
Right.
So this is the only area that we're talking about that probably wasn't any original.
Right. You're getting the very technical aspects of seeker, and it's very technical reason. Why would be that extra? Oops. Have to jump through the extra hoops. So the idea that someone would challenge it and be successful is pretty speculative, but it's one of those things where you still have to do it, because if you don't do it, then there would be more of a problem than if you did do it.
Yeah, and from where this, so the building that they're talking about now is only 1,200 square feet. What's that?
That's-
Oh, sorry, 12,000
That's
square
good,
feet.
yeah, that's good, that entire. The 23,000 feet could be reduced to 12, then there'll be. Larger sheds, and when we say sheds. The good news is that having to wait till next month, we're gonna have a much better idea to be able to show you what it's gonna actually look like. But they're sheds, if you take what you think of 84 lumber used to be or is now, those are lumber sheds. They've come a long way, they're closer to buildings, but they're basically racking that supports cover itself, so essentially it's maybe more outside. It won't look that way, it's hard to explain without.
But it's actually a temporary storage. I mean, it can be removed from the property.
But they're working on it, hopefully we'll have that layout next week too, so there'll be a lot more to see. So we can how bad it's. So 16.
And I did just do like as the firm flies, how far is where this building shows from the house, and it's something like 1,500 feet.
Yeah.
So it's a good distance with a bunch of stuff. So. And they're planning for stormwater management and runoff control. Vegetation, plus the rail is a very big investment, but it had very impacts. In the event that other businesses are at some point able to.
So that's your investment or is well?
No, it's 100% our investment.
Yeah, we actually have to pay them to shut the rail down, put the switch in, come on. They're awesome, they are fantastic. They would not be sitting here today if they hadn't taken the time to kind of teach us and walk us along over the last few years. They're, but yeah, but we pay for that. And they can take it away if they,
Well, they can take it away and
they can take the switch out.
under regulation, they can just. We make the investment, they can take it away.
But that's not the thing. I mean, they want cars and
They're very excited. There's a short list of people that have expressed interest in rails, even if it's one a year or whatever, right? Yeah. There might be, for example, hypothetically, a paper company that would just get a spray rail of toilet tissue as opposed to 4 trucks. And trucking is so expensive right now between government regulations and what shortage of drivers and what keeping up with the emissions under trucking is just absolutely outrageous. So we think it's an unknown, but the potential for it to be a boost to the Auburn economy, especially given that what is going on with Whiteman and everything it's there.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great use of the property. I've been on the council for almost 9 years, and it's been a thorn in my side of playing professional game because it became a dumping ground every summer after the road program. Other projects that have kind of come and gone. Housing, to me, it's not a good place for housing because the railroad's there. I think that it's a great project, a great idea.
And if you'll notice that there are no contractors.
what do you talk about trucks and stuff like that?
Yeah, the trucks and the trailers and the manholes and the spoil piles and then it becomes a dumping ground because nobody put it there. There's still a cleanup to do, but I feel that we made a pretty good stride from what it was to bigger group.
How long have you been working on cleaning it up?
We acquired it in October,
November. Or no, we didn't close the February.
I don't know what
Yeah,
I bought a couple of properties.
we closed in February and it's, so we've been at it since then. We're actually, well, I use the word disappointed, but never discouraged, but eager to go would be the right term, and I think, we're obviously involved in a lot of construction projects. We don't get involved until all this other stuff is done and they're ready to start buying 2x4s. So it's been eye-opening to say the least that the amount of work that goes in, I guess, would be considered pre-con. But we're gonna get there, and as long as everyone's good with it, we're cleaning the place up.
Sounds great. Appreciate it.
I don't think we need to take unless anyone has any questions, but we don't need, I mean, there's nothing to decide tonight. I'm just gonna, we're gonna work, unfortunately. Yeah, we're gonna work on getting this secret taken care of, and we'll have better visuals for you, hopefully next meeting. Guys, thank you for your time.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, we'll see you hopefully sooner than later.
Yes.
Looking
It's
forward to
always
it.
the easy.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Boom, that property was that far back.
That's some really good news. Really good news. Okay, Tracy.
Yeah, so this is moving pretty quickly. I got the call maybe 3 weeks ago, and then 2 weeks ago, and then we were just trying to get it done, so I guess that was probably the sign that something's gonna go wrong, so. I don't know if you've ever seen Bruce Happerfield's Giddy, but like, that's pretty much where he is in this project. I don't know how many of you know Bruce, but yes, they're excited about it.
Good.
So again, what three things were they looking for? They were.
Just sales tax and mortgage reporting tax, just two. So they're not looking for a pilot. It makes more sense for them to use the 45B program, which is an asset right program. And it goes directly to the city assessor's office, fees involved. It's not quite as lucrative, but in this case, with what we expect the property assessment change, it's not a big enough difference to warrant the full pilot versus the 45B. We have a video conferencing
Yes,
policy.
we are. Yeah, can't wait.
Okay, so New York State open meetings law has been updated. Obviously during COVID, there was allowances for Zoom. And, you know, for a number of years now, IDAs, and so this is one thing that we want to remind everybody of, is that our meetings are supposed to be live streamed and videos posted. So just keep that in mind while we're in meetings, that these are technically public record, the videos of these meetings. But even regardless of that, since kind of the transition out of the COVID era, open meetings law policy, the new policy for New York State to allow video conferencing requires the public body to establish a policy. And that policy basically has to determine or define what extenuating circumstances are. So the policy allows board members to attend via video conference without any special notice to the public. As long as they are in line with one of the extenuating circumstances that the policy defines, and there still needs to be a quorum of the board in person. So people attending via video conference under this policy would not count towards quorum, but are allowed to vote, which is different from previous. So if this is something that the board would like to do, we would need to draft a policy and hold a public hearing. Most boards are doing this directly before the regular meeting. It's not terribly controversial. For most people, this is logic in this day and age. So if that's something you would like to do, we can set up a public hearing for the next meeting. I will say there are pros and cons to having a policy that allows video conferencing. In my experience, having that does sometimes lead to quorum issues because people think, oh, I can just hop onto the meeting because like I have a child care issue. And then all of a sudden you have your entire board present, but most of them are online and you can't have a meeting, so you don't have a quorum. So it's something that we have to be really responsible about if the board is going to move this direction, but it would allow for if someone is sick or someone is out of town for a conference or whatever, or has a child care emergency or whatnot, it does allow some flexibility. The key is just not relying on that, because you can remind them to meet that person participation. So just opening up to thoughts on whether this is a direction you want to go, and if so, I can work with Rob on getting a public hearing and policy set up for the next meeting.
This is very common, isn't it? For other bodies.
It's not, a lot of boards have gone this direction, some have intentionally decided not to. They like the in-person atmosphere, and they don't necessarily want to encourage people to go home, so it's both ways, but it's not rare by any stretch.
So we're just basically putting a policy in, because obviously we have access to Zoom, but we have to make it official and get a policy in, is that correct?
Yes, under the law, or under the law previously, if someone was attending via video conference, they had to be in a public space, and that space there had to be public notice of that space, and the public had to have access to it. It was a whole rigmarole, so no one ever did it. Except for maybe like the CCC board. But now, so this is a much easier option if the board.
So we have a policy written.
Not yet, but the standard policy generally allows for,
I thought it'd
hmm?
I had previously drafted.
Yeah, I mean, I have them, they all look the same. So we can share them, but It basically just outlines what I just said, and then it lists the extenuating circumstances, which we have the full authority to decide what they are. My recommendation would be travel, illness, childcare.
I think it's a good option for us to retain. You know, knowing that we want to encourage everyone to come in person as much as possible, but I think it would be good to have that option.
And if we don't like it, come next month, we don't have to vote for it. You know?
But, so I guess I don't, like, so in the meantime, though. Our rule is we have to announce where the public or where the person would be. Coming in, okay,
Fair. So like right now, Stephanie is here listening, but she can't vote, she doesn't count for the forum in any way. She's the observer for this meeting, and she could certainly participate in discussion if she wanted to. And I'm just picking on her, because she wants to, but, she can participate in discussion, but she can't vote under the current circumstance.
The rules were different. So,
Yeah, they're in voting, that's expired, the emergency orders expired. So,
What were the three, Tracy? Child, illness, and what was the third one?
travel, usually travel in there, in case someone wants to go on vacation. Or out of town, it's. Has the ability to. Although it really sucks in the winter when someone's joining from like Hawaii.
Yeah.
well, then you make it, you were the camp rock.
Is there any other questions before I ask for a motion? Okay, can I have a motion to set a public hearing to gather input on video conferencing policy? Motion, please. So moved by Terry,
Second,
seconded. All those in favor?
uh,
Opposed, abstained, carried. Thank you. Tessa, you've got a lot of stuff there.
yeah, that'll be really quick. All right, so we had our first official finance committee meeting and based on everything that have happened since at least January 1st, we really kind of took that list and we're trying to, I think we're all kind of anxious to get through it. So, this is going to take off a chunk of it and get us moving forward or continuing to move forward. So one of the things that Tracy had brought up was Quickbooks. We have the desktop version currently. It would be way more efficient to have the online version. Unfortunately, it's not cheap and it's like theft essentially that they are coming up with this, but Tracy looked into it to try to find different options and we talked about it. Right now, what's being offered is you could have 3 months for $45 each, and then the rest is $90 a month. Which is kind of, I mean, they kind of have us cornered. So, yeah, our other, we mentioned Tracy maybe starting a new endeavor and
Maybe like a new bookkeeping.
yeah, but because there's so few transactions, like it's really silly, like but really in order for us to create a good sound paper trail, we want to put it in reputable software so that we can check.
would this be something that would be handled by CETA under the admin agreement? If, you know, when we get there? Like, would we need to have our own QuickBooks or would?
Yes.
Yeah, so basically CETA set up desktop QuickBooks and was doing all of our bookkeeping. You know, right now, we're just in a situation, I mean, we'll still own the QuickBooks, we'll still own that login. We'll still have the security for it. So,
And one thing that's happening is Intuit is really trying to get desktop. Their
Sure.
version. So like,
Yeah.
my desktop has become very expensive. So it doesn't make much of a difference.
And the other thing that I think, you know. Because of this kind of obsolescence, that's one thing, the way to look at it, but I also see value in having it be online because. Then you do have redundancy options. You know, in that way, it's not like, I mean, as the treasurer, you know. You could have access to the books where CETA was like, had them in-house. So I'm fine with it, and the fact that we have to pay for it means that we do have that luxury to, you know, always be aware of what's going on, no matter who the administrator is.
Right.
So, you know, I'm for it. I mean,
Tess, can I ask you, I've used QuickBooks for 15, 16 years. And desktop. What would online possibly give you, like this desktop gives me everything.
Well, the convenience of it, so one of the things Terry pointed out. Like Tracy could call me up and say, oh, I'm trying to process a check. What an account, which I mean, obviously you would know how to do this, but I'm just saying, like, and so I would just log right in on my login, because I think this one comes with 3 users, right?
Yeah, it just has 5.
So then I could look right in, or if Tracy is not available and I wanted to look at a detailed report to present to the board, I could just log in and get that, or if Tracy needed something. The online version allows a lot more convenience. It's on the cloud, or, you know, it's.
Yeah, if I get hit by a bus, you don't have to access my laptop to get your books.
So,
That's a terrible.
Well, and
I know, it's the bus.
And this is the thing that, I mean, we all just went through, right? We just went through this whole process where it was hard. I mean, we went through like how many people did you have to call to even get access to this? Yeah, so that's just what I'm telling myself, is we're gonna pay $90 a month, is like, if something were to happen, at least now we can access.
It's only a matter of time. Versions go out.
Yeah.
They're trying to push,
I work for a software company.
yeah, they're trying to push me out. I renew on July 31st and they don't wanna, they said eventually they're just not gonna support it. Desktop.
Yeah, no, I think they've been threatening that for at least 10 years. It's been out there for a while.
It's for the level, but for the level we need, it's $700 a year anything.
Have you guys
Right.
looked at TechSoup?
Yeah, so I think because AIDA is not considered nonprofit, is that what TechSoup?
And, no,
I think it's also just you and, so I actually have to text with QuickBooks when I was at CEDA, and QuickBooks is not go well with TechSoup very often, you either end up with outdated software.
No, it's not.
If you still need to.
it's an online subscription.
Oh, they have
$50 subscription, 5 people for a year.
Oh, well, then I'll look at that.
What's that software called?
But I don't,
It's
well,
TechSoup, it's just a place that like, you're not profiting. You're there to get better deals on software. So
but I think it's,
we're
but,
not,
I mean, we can double check, just to like, to see if maybe there is some kind of offering.
I forgot we used to buy that stuff for CEDA.
Yeah,
Can't get it for CEDA.
yeah, so we're not a 501c3, but we are a tax exempt, so
Right.
maybe there's a.
I don't know if there's like maybe a government entity, but. Yeah, cause we've even had to argue about things like. The clubs, like the school clubs, which technically they're not tax exempt, so they charge like $1,200 a year for it. Crazy.
If. And in the text, they would do this because it's like a sure. Yeah,
There's just another organization that can get like a grant or discount.
So So I'll check there before I go direct to you, because it also just made me happy.
So can we still, so we can't,
Yeah, we can just,
okay.
go for up to the amount.
Is there anything more when I add? If not, can I ask for a motion to approve QuickBooks Online subscription as presented? By Jimmy. Second by Nathan. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained, carried. Okay, back to you, Tessa.
All right, so we've talked a lot about, getting the letter sent out, so to each of the municipalities regarding the penalty forgiveness. So there's going to be a letter that goes out to the school and this is the amounts that I have written. So the school, we're going to ask them to forgive 28,084.57. The city, we would ask them to give $19,631.49. And the county, we're asking $12,660.10. Those are the amounts that I have, but, so Rob's, I think is putting that, you know,
So
I got the resolution.
yeah, the resolution is in the packet, or was in the packet.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I came straight from home, because it's June, school, yeah. So, I was supposed to print it out, but I think those are both printed. The resolution. So we can pull that up,
So that,
and they're not in the body of the resolution. In the exhibits.
policy 6010,
that's for the county. Yep.
Base and council. 19,631.49.
Yep.
School. Yeah, yes, so that was, what was in the resolution?
So this requires action from the bodies, correct?
Correct, this does, so what the resolution in front of you is basically authorizing, Rob to send these notices and template resolutions out to the bodies, and then they would have to take action on these.
Rob,
Oh.
Rob helped me. Pen blew up as soon as I got here. So is there anything more before I ask for a motion? So we need a motion to approve sending out the letters to the taxing jurisdictions requesting a waiver of pilot penalty late fees. These fees are blank to, wow, we just heard the amounts.
Yeah.
To the city, the school district, and the county.
I just had one note, that my name could be spelled correctly. On the letters, it's MAC.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can correct that. I'm sorry.
Scottish or Irish.
Oh.
That's all the time.
And you're Irish?
I'm Irish, but my husband is Scottish. But our name is Scottish.
Okay, so all those in favor, the motion?
Was there?
I'm sorry, moved by, moved by Carrie, second by Dan, all those in favor?
Well,
Oh, roll call, I'm sorry.
Ms. McLeod is excused, Mr. Andre,
Yay.
Mr. Petty,
Yes.
Mary Jane Gino,
I,
Matt McGuire,
Hi,
Mr. Lovell, Ms. Crawford,
Aye.
Ms. Leon, you can vote if you want to just vote now. Okay, excuse, Ms. Walter. I passed.
Okay, thank you. Thumbs up.
Thumbs up, great, thank you.
Am I allowed to? I can't vote, but can I be part of the roll call?
Well, I'm catching for now.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Feel like I did miss something in the annotation of the city.
Yeah, okay.
The city.
So one of the things that we wanted to go back to on the balance sheet is that there was the loan payable to the city that had the interest recorded by the auditors. So, and as part of our corrective action plan, we discussed that we would just pay that off instead of letting it accrue interest. So, so at this point, I'd like to make the motion to get that paid.
Any discussion?
The principal is 23,100, the interest is 11,220.
I think that makes sense.
If we have it, might as well pay it. There's no sense to let it sit. around.
Well, and like the auditors had said, the biggest thing is now now we've accrued
Yeah.
half of what
Yeah.
the. should-
That's not being responsible. So I have a motion. Got a second by Dan. All those in favor signify by aye. Opposed, abstain, carried. Thank you.
Next thing that we looked at, was the budget that was created in October, approved, I believe, in December. I felt like it was important that we revisited that, so that was one of the things we looked at in the finance committee to see what could we realistically budget now that things have changed a bit. So in the left column, that was what was passed. And then on the right side, that's what we're proposing. So we have, with interest rates the way that they are, and we're looking at getting the CD, we can hopefully see a little bit more increase of what we originally thought. Dues, we stated would be the chamber, what was,
And the Interstate Economic Development, they council.
then we did do the increase of office supplies just because we are looking at what we had now, and then we're talking about with QuickBooks, were we thinking that's where QuickBooks was in?
I think we were gonna put the. Yeah, for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
It's about $1,000 for the whole
Yep.
year, so the rest of this year.
And then professional services would be the audit. We are hopeful that we will be staying more on top of it, whereas the audit fee that we paid this year included that additional work that they had to do, and I think I'm very hopeful that we'll have a better handle on that. We just got rid of miscellaneous, and then the contracted services went obviously from CETA to MRB, so this would be what the realistic amount would be, so we just wanted to make sure that we had that in there for budgeting. Marketing, when this was discussed for the original piece of 15,000, I think they were talking, I just remember Jim and Katie saying something about the website, and I don't think we've had any further discussion of that, so I was thinking that's where the biggest decrease would be, to kind of move up into contracted services.
And just as Dan can probably answer this, so we have complete access to our current website, and we could change the website as needed. Is that the case? Well, yes, okay. So that's good. Like, it's still doing what it's there, we're saving $14,000. So it's great.
Sorry, I'm just gonna submit a table here. At the finance committee, they talked about marketing being 10,000 instead of 15,000. We're missing a zero here. 10,000 does mean probably more than we need, but the
More
website for hosting, you just like took care of that today. That was about 1,500. So we should just make sure that that's covered in the expense. For my notes, I had that we had 10.
10,000?
Yeah.
For, okay. So just so, just so I can wrap my head around it. So I thought the website posting was like around, like, sounded like would be like 1,000. Other things would be advertising in, magazines or whatever we saw there, like.
Oh,
Yeah, because some of the conversations that we're gonna create this marketing, right?
Yeah.
Yep, there was
So we
that.
want to have a little bit of capital to do that.
Yep.
So, like the breakthroughs, if we want to go back and revisit that, next year we can do that.
So I think that probably this number needs to change.
Yep, it was, I'm sorry, yep, so it was 10,000, and it,
would be.
right.
More, okay, fair enough.
But I'd rather, budget over. Than.
Sure. Makes sense.
So they're more comfortable with a $10,000 budget there, or?
Can you scroll down to what the other cash considerations, I just was trying, oh, yeah. So because the loan interest had already been accrued in the previous years, we want to. That would be more of the cash flow.
I just wanted this to be, in front of people, to know that this isn't what we're talking about. We're talking
Yeah,
about
because I had some confused actually.
Does that change the net income line?
Yeah, so whatever number we changed this 1,000 to, this. would
Nice,
go
so it'll be a negative.
What do you think
29,000.
about cutting it in half to 7,500?
That's probably. Because we're 6 months through the year anyway.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
And obviously, we would feel much better knowing the, where we are with the pilot and.
Yeah.
Obviously change.
It's.
Oh. So,
I just have a question for the pilot penalties, the number that's in the resolution is closer to 60,000.
Yeah, so when we
So
put
where's
this,
your asterisk? Maybe there's something there.
yeah, sorry, so when we put this together, and recalculated all of the pilot penalties. When I recalculated them all, there were a number that went late in January. Because the remaining disbursements did go out in February.
Right.
So that added a lot of money, because it's 5% of the amount to the first month of the state. So that's where that jump is. So.
Is there anything more before I ask for a motion? Everyone else set? Okay, can we have a motion to amend the budget as presented? Or amended if changes are made during the discussion?
Yeah, as amended.
As amended.
So that further discussion.
So moved.
Moved and seconded, I'll second by Mayor Tina. All those in favor?
Right?
Opposed, abstained, carried. Thank you.
I think I just have one more. So we had also discussed about a CD. What we found is that $150,000 was approved to put a 5-month CD at Generations Bank. And we can see that there was that money pulled out and it never did happen. So the cash in the checking account should be enough to carry AIDA through this year, even with this budget amendment. And all banks should have a checking account option to establish a dedicated pilot. Oh, that's right. So I'm gonna do 2 separate. So, well, just to update you on the CD, that didn't happen. But we still would like to look into it, maybe because looking at cash flow, seeing if we can still do it, just because we want to take advantage of these interest rates that are here. And then another part of what was our corrective action plan is that when we're looking, we want to establish an account that's strictly for those pilot payments that are received. So it's right in our face that we can quickly turn it out. So would we just all discuss this as a board so that maybe we can?
Yeah, so just for, I did go out to a number of banks to ask for interest rates. Given that now we know $126,000 of the money in our checking account is ours, I think $150,000 is probably a little too much to put into a CD. I would also recommend trying to stick with something shorter term, a 6-month. The best rates that there are, Shamong is offering a 5% at 9 months. That's a CD special right now, and then Lions is offering 4.85 for 6 months. So what I would recommend for a motion here is to choose an account for a CD, how much we want to move there, and then also choose an amount that we want to move into the checking account. And any of these we would set up. So if we went with Shamong or Emily for a CD, I think it makes sense. We're still kind of basic business account, pilot, but that's the bank. Most of them have like a minimum of $500 or something like that. So we do that. And then that would take care of all of our banking needs. One motion, get it all. So do you want all the rates that I got? I told you the best ones, but, okay, great.
No, I think that one sounds good.
Were there, did they give you money like?
Sure it is.
I was noticing, like, I thought it was funny that 4-month marker for some reason seemed hot.
Yeah,
recently.
Tompkins has a 5-month, but it's 4.5. The else kind of anything.
That seems so short.
Thoughts?
I'm actually,
Kate said, the bond with the 5%, so
9 months would carry us till February.
what's
Um,
that?
9 months would carry us to February, you know.
what
give or
was it,
take.
was the new budget, the negative 29,000? Is that? So,
Hopefully this goes down in our revenue. In our revenue.
yeah, so, and I'm not. Yeah, I'm gonna need a lot, some assistance in this, so, since there's. So right now, what we could safely say, based on the reconciled balance of May 31st. With the. Bills that just got approved today, with the pilot payment that went out. It's about 184,000. Now, if we took out, so if I automatically said, okay, we're budgeting a $30,000 loss, even though some of that has already come out, like that still. Puts us at about 150,000, so we could safely do 50,000. Especially if it's gonna, I mean, for 5 months, right?
Well, this is 9 months.
Oh,
5%.
9.
Take us to.
Yeah, I would say for CB goes somewhere in like the 50 to 75 range, and then maybe 30 or 40.
Because also in September. When would we get so September, in the fall, ideally, we would receive all those pilot payments, so then you'd have, I mean, obviously, it's got to go right back out, but.
I didn't even see 75,000, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, 50,000, I think is erring on the side of caution. So if you guys are comfortable with 75, I can see where that.
Thoughts?
I like 75, just give us a little more. To get interest. It is, again, it is good that, some, action on the horizon as was, detailed today with our tests. That's a good thing, good sign. It's been a while since I've had meetings like this.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think the last 2 board meetings, there's been.
So, 75K to a small 9-month CD, and you want to say 35 to the operating check, just to start cash flow.
Okay.
How much was it?
35.
Okay.
That should cover us for the rest of the year,
And the remainders in savings.
and our remaining just stays for this.
Okay, what is that figure?
It would be about, there's about 175 in there now. So that would be 45 and 55 there.
And did you ask Generations about what that interest rate that they're giving us for that savings account to see if they could do any better with that?
I will.
Do we-
I did not ask them.
Just because I'm,
Bring to the draw slip.
Yeah, the other thing we could do is just pull over like money paid to the operating checking for now, so those accounts are attached to each other, it's pretty easy. So, we can just pull more money if we need it.
so the Chemung one though, is that would be like we would get interest on that one?
So the Shimon would be the CD, which would be the
Yeah.
interest bearing, and then the business account that we use for pilots.
But you said you would put 35,000 in there?
No, it's got our operating account generations.
Oh, gotcha,
So that we-
okay.
Yeah,
The Shimon would be
I'm
the-
following
that
now.
would be the- That would be the pilot.
because
Because we
It'll
have to
yield about
deposit the
3,000.
pilot account until we have the pilot payment.
Right.
And that would just be kind of low.
Yeah, pass through.
Okay, everyone all set? Read the motion. Try to anyways. We have a motion to move 75,000 into a 9-month CD. With Chemung Canal Bank and establish a dedicated pilot checking account. With the Chemung Bank. With the minimum deposit amount. I hit that, Tracy?
Yep, and with $35,000
Yep.
to the generations.
Yep, and 35,000 to generation, check. Have a motion? Moved by Dan, second by Jimmy. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, carried. Okay. Now we will go to committee appointments for discussion. Maybe we need to finish up filling the board committees. We want to see that in our package, the descriptions. Are they-
So this is the same thing that happened last month. We did take care of the finance committee, but we do need to go to government, at least the governance audit committee. And then this marketing committee is also on the radar as well, although it's not statutory. It's important, it's just not required by law.
Who's on the governance committee now?
Just me, just.
Just
the
Gary.
Or Ted.
So we need 2 other people to join Terry.
I wouldn't mind being on that committee with these 2 gentlemen.
I'm sorry, so
So
Bill
Dan and Bill.
That's a committee. so.
is Terry is the chair of the committee?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think Terry did want to chair. You wanted to chair that committee, right, Terry?
Yeah, might ask me,
Okay.
so,
Great.
but I could, I could have it somebody else, but I want to honor Glenn's request, so.
We're not getting out of it.
And the audit committee, we don't currently have any members. Gwen and I had tried to lure Stephanie in last time. Stephanie, I'll just keep an eye out for that thumbs up. From you this time. But we also
Oh,
need-
thumbs up.
How many people get a round of applause at a board meeting? Any other takers on the audit?
So this year, we're gonna take that through RFP, right?
So that's something we also need to talk about is, what we wanted, if we want to RFP it, or if we want to stick with Dana Willoughby. I have been talking to, Elaine a little bit, so, let's get through this first, and then we'll come back to that. I actually have it on the annotated agenda to talk about this.
Okay. Well, I just finished a pretty rigorous RFP process, for my day job. I'd be happy to help with that.
So we've got Katie, you've got Stephanie, and you won.
I need another meeting to go to.
You want to feel lonely?
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Brenda, it's on my bed.
And then we do need a chair for that committee as
Oh, Stephanie.
Stephanie, I saw the vote.
well. Was there a thought?
I saw.
Okay.
Yes.
Sure, help me in.
Wonderful.
Great.
Okay, so we can do, and are we ready to kind of work on the marketing committee tonight, or do we wanna?
We can, so I'm gonna chair it. And I'm definitely looking for some committee members.
Like marketing.
It'll be fun.
You can put me on there. For now.
I could be on that too.
Great, thanks, Dan, thanks,
Good
Gary.
group.
I'll attend the fun stuff.
With the wild.
You guys do the work, I'll show up.
Bill, do you want me to read these out for the purposes of the motion?
Yes.
So for purposes of the motion, we've got governance committee chaired by Terry with Bill and Dan. Audit committee chaired by Stephanie with Katie and Jimmy, and marketing committee chaired by Katie with Dan and Terry.
Okay. Is there any discussion before I ask for a motion?
We didn't want to say, move through that process very quickly without any, bad blood.
I gotta go focus pretty soon.
You got
I
one
gotta go
more
focus
hour.
pretty soon.
Well, when you volunteered though, it was sort of, I felt like that was sort of the scene from Lord of the Rings or Frodo. volunteers.
Rob had a great sense of
I mean, other people, there was this, being off.
Okay, so the committees that Tracy just read off, can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second,
Moved by Katie. Sorry,
Karen.
Karen, how did I forget your name? I've known you
It's
forever.
okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, carried. Thank you. Okay,
This is where my side note about the audit comes in.
Okay.
So to Katie's point here, we need to decide soon what we want to do about the 2024 audit. We've been on a year-to-year contract with Temple over the last few years. I did talk to Elaine. They've been giving you very nice discounts. So if they were going to, so they did a kind of unofficial estimate. The last couple of years, they've been spending in the area of 20 hours on AIDA's audits. They are looking at 80 hours for next year, and that would be about 12,000. I anticipate that you get similar or higher rates from others, so we just need to decide if so we need to decide if you want to RFP it, see if you can get some interest, or if you'd like to stick with Daniel. I think it would be great for you to be in a multi-year contract. That's beneficial to organizations. I also see benefit in working with the group who understands what happened the last 2 years.
Sure.
So Tracy, just leaving it out of conversation right now on that.
Tracy, can we go multi-year contract with Danable without going through an RFP, or do we need to go through the RFP process?
Yeah, you can ask them for a 3-year.
You don't have a RFP where what has to happen is the partner cannot stay the same. For a period of whether 3 or 5.
So.
Do we have, is there anything in a policy of like a certain threshold before you do have to RFP that's specific to AIDA?
We have a procurement policy, but auditing falls under the, as I know, the auditing falls under professional services, which is exempt from the procurement process because of the specialized skill sets. So you can RFP.
It's like a sole source.
So what I will tell you from experience with another IDA is that when you RFP after a bad audit, those prices go way up because they're on the lookout for the fact that they're gonna have to spend some time.
Yeah, no, I think you bring up very valid points of, keeping an eye out that we do, like, we can ask for a different partner. But staying with the same audit firm in this time where there is a lot of transition, there's a lot of benefits to that as well. And just because like we're working with people who know that we want to improve.
Yeah,
And
no, I
get
think that's a
better.
valid point.
and they will see it.
Well,
Yeah,
the other thing is the last time that we did RFP for it. It was only one.
yeah, and I mean, like that, when you take the risk, that could possibly happen, but, I mean, also. They would have to go through the work, I don't know, saying, they're like the good audit, like, we're just trying to work together to make sure that we are doing the right thing. So they're saying 80 hours for 12,000, like you could get an official quote, proposal for 3 years.
If this is the direction we wanted to go, I would have to try and say, hey, can you put up a proposal or a contract for 3 years? We'll bring that to the board. Because it's the busiest time of their year, so we need to get on the calendar. I think for AIDA started earlier this year and started with a 3-work member. So by the time they get into their busy season, a lot of the work is done. Because there's just a lot of those seasons. it blows my mind sometimes when I see those frauds for organizations that have 3 transactions a year. I'm like, oh my gosh. So, and this is across the board, all.
Does that mean we need to go back to do anything to that budget line where we had 11,000?
That was, that's why I made that face. I was like,
I think. I'm personally. That's up to you. Also, you're only gonna pay for half of it. They only charge half. They charge it 2 halves, some for the.
oh,
Half of the. You're actually.
And then I'll just add to the other half we paid for last year's.
Yes.
We'll take action on that.
Yeah, so I'll bring an official proposal contract back next month.
Very good. Okay, Tracy, we got some explaining to do.
I have some. Okay, so the last resolution in the packet. Is basically just officially debating, or appointing me as executive director now that all the stuff worked out. This resolution basically allows me to do your PARS work, and makes me your procurement officer. So if we do an RFP, there's a procurement officer name, which is required by law anyway, or contracting officer. So it really just puts those roles that you need to.
Yes.
Do you have to say something before I move?
No.
All right, so move.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Yes, we like you, Tracy.
Thanks.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, carried. Thank you. One more, Tracy.
Okay, and then the IDA Academy, the New York State IDA Academy was rescheduled to July 25th. I just want you to know who is interested in attending that. The registration fees for that are $125 per person or $500 for 5 people. And then if we wanted to, we could also reimburse mileage. This is in Binghamton, so I don't anticipate that anyone would need to stay overnight. It's a 1-day conference. It's kind of like a 9 to 5 kind of thing. So just looking for A, who's interested, and B, what's the board willing to pay for.
I'm still
Karen,
impressed.
if it makes sense.
I'm interested too. I just don't think that brought my work phone to my schedule.
Who's going?
That's the question.
July 25th, Thursday.
Yeah, I'm not interested in one, but I do think the board needs to pay more. It's only gonna help us.
So what I'll do is I'll kind of, so basically I'll say is we'll pay for 3 in case that Karen and Keith can't, but
I think we had a similar discussion earlier. Yeah.
Should I just let you know?
okay, man. I'll
Okay, any more discussion before I ask for a motion? Okay, can I have a motion to approve the expenditure associated with 3 attending the New York State, what the hell does that all mean?
New York State Economic Development Council IDA Academy.
Thank you. Can I have a motion, please? By Tessa, second by Jim. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained, carried.
Okay, we're running behind schedule, but I give one more administrative thing came up. CETA is moving out of their offices and needs to know what to do with our files. My understanding is that the county is looking to move in for some of their operational needs, short term and then long term potentially, and development still up in the air. I did talk to Steve Lynch. My recommendation is to consolidate our files into the cabinets we own and have them locked and remaining on the 3rd floor up there until, because I don't want to move them and then move them back if they end up staying there. My personal preference. So if that's okay with you, I would just submit a letter to SNP and saying, hey, CETA, let us consolidate our files.
That seems reasonable.
Yes.
Great. Okay. Property. AIDA owned property. It's our last item of business. I'm gonna like be really kind of quick about this. I'll stay right on. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so most of the property that AIDA owns is over in the tech park. There's the two big industrial properties that, you know, I think makes sense to continue marketing as industrial commercial properties, but there's also these 4 little properties down here on Case and Bradley that are zoned residential. My understanding is that they were acquired by AIDA when the rest of the tech park was acquired. And I think now is a good time to think about selling those. It's something that the board had talked about briefly last year, and then kind of we got pushed aside with everything going on. But housing is a state priority right now. Galbraith has been designated a pro-housing community, so they have zoning and programming in place to facilitate housing development. And that also makes the city eligible for all sorts of funding, discretionary funding in the budget. So the city is already selling properties to the broker. From what I heard during that meeting that you talked about this, residential land sale, you're paying the same commission no matter what. The pricing between brokers is not going to change. So I think Rob made the point that it doesn't really matter who we choose. I would think that it makes sense if the city adds to their list that that would be the most efficient route to go. And then of course the fees will come out of our out of the sale of property. But I think the first step is to say, is this something, do we want to own these properties? There's a lot of housing development, there's a lot of interest in there right now, so.
Are these the properties that we voted to not put sidewalks? in
We
front of?
actually.
Oh,
we
sidewalks
actually
later.
put
We
sidewalks.
did put sidewalks, okay.
Yeah, I rescinded mine.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I think we should sell
They, so we're selling like a residential, so essentially single family, there's only single family homes. This is your name of parents.
Yes, it is.
Interested in any thoughts you might have about these properties?
Question, what's your sell, or what's your buy price?
What's my bag, please?
Oh, yeah, would she even be able to? Would there be a conflict of interest?
Oh, for her, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
oh,
she might
man.
be a broker. She just wouldn't be able to sell it to person.
The property. BC are regular, like standard lots. And, D is, the corner lot for, the end of Case Avenue and then going down towards, the wastewater treatment plant.
So here's a larger.
Yeah.
Here.
And, but that, E, the only thing that would be difficult, there's a pretty big grading problem because it's all sloped, you know, as you go that way. So, but if somebody bought, you know, D and E, they'd have a nice little sledding hill. If we get snow, but that would be, you know, but the sidewalks do make a difference. They really do. And, I was wondering, as I was thinking about this, there was a contractor that was before the planning board, and he, has done duplexes, on the old Seymour Street School. You know, whether that would be, you know, a possibility, or, you know, if they're, you know, but I mean, with the sidewalks going in, they were eligible because of CDBG, low to moderate incomes. you know, based on one of the censuses, so. You know,
Would there be any opportunity to, like, offer them to Habitat first?
Yeah, so here, the options here are to say, let's put them on the market to see what comes back. Let's talk to Habitat, that would probably find on the information. If you're looking at Habitat, or potential combination.
I still think with Habitat, you could sell it for,
Cause they do
they have money,
purchase,
yeah,
Yeah.
so. It wouldn't, like, it would have to be $1, like the city's done. You could still do like the 14,000, I just think in today's market though,
Yeah.
And let's say, you know, maybe sell two of them and you don't start.
Yeah. I have to look at what you have to do. as
Well,
far
not
as
that big.
ADO compliance. Companies. And whether you need to get it appraised. Like that. Especially when they're under $50,000. Okay. But
But that's only if we give it, if we were to sell it under, right? If we were to list them both.
the ADO is still just thinking about having a good appraisal because they want the public to be fully informed as to what is going on. Even if
Even in this market. That's like market rates, what the market pays for it.
so the value that's listed there, is that, where
so-
did that come from?
is that
The values that are listed for these,
that's-
the assessments.
it's from the assessment, that's,
so I have to look into it, what we actually have to do. But yeah, the APO wants good numbers as to what the fair market is. So the public's fully informed as to what the sales price is versus what the set value is. So they know what they think you fair market is.
okay, and I just wanna make sure, you're saying ATO, Attorney General's
APO,
office,
authorities budget laws.
Authority's budget office, thank you.
Exactly. They do as well. Any given sales. Why did I try?
If we sell it for brokerage, then
That's an encroachment.
would we need a 90-day notice if it goes for a broker?
I think the threshold on real property is $15,000, so if you get a right, so it's worth 14,000, you know, 14,100 probably not.
is it both?
But.
yeah,
So.
One in the middle? Yeah, that's the most. Oh, wait a minute.
No, that's universal.
no, this is.
Oh, okay.
This is the BOCES line.
Right there, yeah.
Oh, okay.
This is. This is the trust company.
Okay,
No, trust companies are right.
And
That's
then-
real deals to the left.
Oh, yeah.
Former rent deals.
Yeah. That's the same.
Okay, so here's what I can do. I can work with Rob and figure out if we need appraisals. Once we get that together, if there's interest, so if we do need appraisals, I'll go out and get some numbers for that. Hoping it would be enough that it would be a formal RFP, able to get quotes, but if they come back over the procurement threshold, we'll talk about that. So we'll work that piece out and maybe next month we can, and then I'll also talk to the city about what it might take to sell it through that broker.
Yes.
So they can come back next month with some solid plans. These are our next steps. This is what we have to do. Let's get some of them.
I like that idea.
Yeah.
What does ABO compliance mean? I don't.
That's it.
Line of the authority, but, so
Okay.
let's say you did this through a negotiated disposition. Put it on the market, negotiated disposition with. You know, young public is gonna buy it. you still have to do, for, $15,100. Still have to do an explanatory statement with the authority budget office, which they have to then accept. As to why you did this negotiating this particular property. Even if the definition of, fair market value is, the price agreed by, supported by a buyer, seller, average, like, yada, yada, yada. What the authority budget office has said the last time that I dealt with them for AIDA on the or, what they told me, even though the law doesn't exactly, it's not exactly. So they say that you still need an appraisal so that the public can be fully informed as to whether there was, you're getting the highest and best price.
But so that was like.
So in that
wasn't
case,
a formal sale process for that.
no, well, in that case, I was able to talk them out of it
Oh.
because there wasn't a formal sale. In this case, I don't think I would be able.
I'll try, I'll call. No, it just seems like no matter what the appraisal says, if you can't. Like, what if the appraisal comes back and we get a higher offer?
Well, I mean, for all intents and purposes, you have to disclose it.
So basically, they're limiting our ability to get the next price.
And especially in today's market. Wouldn't we, like, don't most people, like, today get higher than? Right?
Well, is it such a thing that AIDA has never went, shouldn't have been in the real estate business? Do you think is that some component of it? I know when we owned, when AIDA owned Columbia Road, that area. I just remember, that industrial authority, wasn't supposed to be in the real estate business. I don't know, but that, I mean, that's years ago.
Yeah. I would say it's fairly common for IDAs to be in the real estate business, but particularly industrial real estate.
Right, the type of, right.
I think this was just part of the overall deal that happened. When we got the rest of it, so. It certainly would empower some authorities, and I think it's a pretty common practice. It's just a question of what's right for this one.
Right.
And. But yeah, these persons are.
And then through all of that process. So I think one of the things you had mentioned, was that the area you were seeing like a daycare or something?
I was saying it's not daycare.
Yeah.
Daycare, but
So
that's not technically.
what about like zoning? Okay, so that's what, so through that process, if somebody were to approach it, then. Would have to go through zoning and would have, okay. Yeah. But then the broker, where we would work, like rely on the broker to know how and who to sell it to.
No, the broker would have to bring us some offers. And that's.
So somebody would be
able to decide how to dispose of properties.
And they have B and C lot, I mean, they're deep lots. They're going to be, but a deep lot. Like I wanna say like maybe 166 feet going back.
And
But B and C are going again, they're gonna hit an incline.
So Rob and I will do our research and we'll come back with inspection. And we'll also, with doing that research, figure out what it means to perhaps sell it to habitat or some organization. And with that versus.
I mean, the other thing is, in this sort of situation, you know, and it's not appropriate.
Let me know if you're watching.
And then are there other properties?
No, so last year, as I've been informed, last year, there was a piece that was attached to Bluefield Manor that was just holding the line to the next town over, that was converted to Bluefield Manor. These are the only properties, other than these old properties, or private, that I'm aware of. Know about the properties?
Well, I believe there may be. Yes. And only,
like,
sorry. I can wait till next meeting if you like.
so
Right.
I'll send them my way. I'll
Okay.
have a list of them.
All right.
Because, gosh darn.
Do we have any board member updates? Kim, can I have a motion to adjourn? By Katie, second by Jimmy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Okay, thank
Thank
you.
you, everyone.
Writing a note to myself on here, in your name,
Okay.
and it autocorrected. Without the A. So I'm telling myself, it might not be true, I'm telling myself that I typed it correctly.
Thanks, Tracy.